Oh, little man, what's going on, everyone? Nick here from Little Man Yugioh, back at it again with another Amaryllis related video. Hope everyone's having an amazing day so far. Wanted to kick it a beautiful Thursday morning out here on the East Coast. So, what we're gonna do today is go over a couple of Blackwing replays, just so you guys, because I got a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions like, hey. I can't stop losing the Blackwings. How do we bleed Blackwings? How do I play against Blackwings? And this video hopefully will illuminate how we were able to do so. So we have about 4 matches to review today. But before we go any further, we must go over to the channel because we're at 238 subscribers. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you've been giving to the channel so far. The comments, the engagement, the likes, the love, your undying confession of worship to me. I mean, I know you guys don't worship me, but like, because I don't even have 250 subscribers. But guess what? You guys can make a difference and get that going. Subscribe so we can hit 250. You know what happens when we hit 250? We give away a place of Amaryllis to 3 lucky winners, and we put you into the wheel. We count the amount of comments that we see in all of our previous videos, the amount of likes, the more that we see. And if you are indeed subscribed to the channel, you have a chance to enter the win. We're going to put it on the wheel. We're going to put each comment is going to be an entry on each respective video. That helps push us up in the algorithm, and that helps us bring you more quality Edison, half format and goats. We're just playing Yu-Gi-Oh. We're just playing Yu-Gi-Oh, boys. So jumping right into the video today. So I had a couple matches with my teammate Glick the other day, and Glick, he's no slouch of the Blackwing player, and he's also played against my deck numerous times because I'm like, hey Glick, only play against your Blackwing so I don't lose to them. So obviously step number one and playing the matchup is playing against the Blackwing matchup a million times. It's plain and simple, right? But at least I'll be able to show you a couple of reasons or different rationales as to different plays and whatnot. So moving over here, as you saw, this is not my first time thinking I was recording because, doing book the side of the fucking crash, right? So we end up going Dandelion and sending over the creatures, and then we just set the fort and pass, all right? Because we have a couple chainables here. And I decided to send the Dandelion because we needed to get the Amaryllis out of our hand. If he has Storm, which he does right here, we're able to get a chainable option through Dandelion and give us a little bit more value there. So we're technically even on card advantage. I do consider, these like tokens card advantage themselves, even in the Blackwing matchup. He's playing the Greffer version for this variant, but he does have a couple of variants that we're tying against. And you'll see a couple matches where like I am playing different versions of my deck. So just setting Necroguard. And this is the area where like I told him to go back because I just realized a much more broken play. Obviously I told him that he could shuffle, whatever. But we decide to like Mark of the Rose here and then try to utilize the Greffer to get the Plague Spreader Zombie out of the deck. So obviously we're just testing here and we're just seeing what outcomes could be if we do certain plays. This is the best way to test, period. You're not testing against your friends to try to win the game. You're testing to learn. That's the portion here. You want to win tournaments. You don't want to win your friends in friendlies. Like, come on, boys. So there's some fun facts on how to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh right there. And because I gave you that fun fact, you got to subscribe at least at that point. I'll wait. All right, moving on to the next one. And we're also at like 500. I was at 510 here. I think I'm at like 540 or 550 from just beating these bozos. And obviously they go Blizzard Attack. That means that Kalud is in his hand, and then we top deck Hidden Armor, DDR essentially, which is insane because that we're able to get Lone Fire, and Lone Fire is going to route us right into Titanio. So he's going to bottom us to Titanio. Obviously, we're on Discord, so like I already tell him what I'm doing. The Stardust is going to negate there, but he's trying to open up the floodgates to the Icarus attack, thinking that's a Mirror Force, but like we don't give a hell because we have to try to win the game. He cannot keep the tuner on his field, like absolutely not. So we're getting him down to 200, and then Amaryllis and Stardust come back at the end phase. So, and even he was like deciding like, hey, well, should I do this or should I do that? And it really wasn't going to matter too much there because he's just locked under Stardust and Titanium. Usually when you have Stardust Titanium against any given matchup, it just feels so hard to lose that. You always want to get the Stardust Titanium. There's not a deck that could beat that setup. There's very little cards that could even beat that setup as is, usually involving like a Collude or an Honest. But if you have Mirror Force in the back row, then it's like game's hella over. We open crazy, right? So we open double trade in with 2 ways to pass it. Gotta love to see it. We heavy storm going for the back row. Obviously, he hits the Solemn Judgment. We're not going to throw out Lone Fire because we don't want to lose to Royal Oppression, so we just dumped out the Sirocco. Sirocco, I've been adoring in this deck, like just adoring, because he helps you play through Collude. He helps you play under Royal Oppression because they're going to board that crap in, and he's overall like a very strong card. Also, in combination with Magic Cylinder, if they try to Collude you, Sirocco you right back, then you have Cylinder. It gives them another attack gain that you could maximize the damage off your cylinder. So very cool stuff there. I have Mirror Force. He changed Ick Attack. I'm totally fine with it because he's low, and all we need is like Amaryllis food. So it almost doesn't even matter if he has Royal Oppression, and that he does. So, and this is what I'm talking about rushing the opponent, right? Like it's so important to rush the opponent there, right? Like especially in the Blackwing matchup there. The longer that Blackwings has, their draws are just better. They're like what Warriors are in Go format. Warrior has the best top decks in Go format, the same way that Blackwings has one of the best top decks in Go format, Edison format. Blackwings in Go format, imagine that. What a nightmare. So I end up just throwing out all the hidden armories. Unfortunately, we hit heavy, so that allows him to kind of set the fort, which is exactly what he's going to do immediately after. He attacks me directly with his value, but that's okay. So we were able to, we have the Lila DDR combo, which is very nice because we're able to play through Bottomless. And he Bottomless is up there. We try to DDR, get the Dandelion into the graveyard to get the tokens, but he ends up MSTing that, unfortunately. So that's like the very bad thing about like milling Heavy Storm is that, and like just milling cards in general, is that they see the cards that they could do process of elimination on the stuff within the back row, which is unfortunate. But unfortunately, this is just the most efficient way of playing this deck. You cannot play this deck with like less millers. Like the millers are like the most important part because you're milling at least one good card every single time that you can utilize for later. It's almost like milling is like a +1 within itself. So we throw in another trade in, which is crazy. We're drawing trade in an 8-star, like it's our job, baby. Like it's our job. So we then decided to go in because we have the appropriate pieces to like crack back on, and we need to start getting damage in quick because like nothing's happening here, right? So we don't hit normal summon, so we just get our hidden armory going, so we can utilize our normal summon for next turn. We have Mark of the Rose Plague Spreader to take any of like their like armed wings or whatever. So then we're going to Mark of the Rose out, get Goyo, Synchro up, and get the Lone Fire Blossom for follow-up in the deck. Goyo over to get the value. Just so like he can't just like bin Sirocco, but he top decks Brain Control, which is super insane. And then he Titanios in the Mirror Force. So I debate on just like throwing out a DDR and just getting the guy out, and he just top decks Royal Oppression, which sucks. Like, what else are you going to say? And then we top deck Call the Honda, which further loses to Royal Oppression. So I show him that. I think I screamed fuck at the top of my lungs after that replay because that's a game that I had the entire time until he drew Royal Oppression. So moving over in some of the more additional stuff. This is the tomato list. So this is my version of the tomato list, which is cool. We end up going Titanial, Amaryllis with a Wing Blast in the back row. Pretty cool stuff there. He decides not to throw down Whirlwind. Listen, Glick, not a slouch, so he's doing the right thing there, right? Black Whirlwind, we're going to Phoenix Swing, place it to the top because we don't care if he redraws that nonsense. We're going to deal a whole ton of damage to him next turn because, like I said, we're trying to bum rush the opponent, right? And we have another plant in the graveyard. Well, 2 other plants in the graveyard. So mathematically speaking, he takes the other 800. He only needs 2 more Amaryllis burns, and then the game is really over, right? So we go Mirror Force, set Raikou, and pass. And this game is usually over. Like So here's the thing with Wing Blast. Like, I don't understand why people think this card is bad or like it's worse than Raigeki Break or Divine Wrath or whatnot. Like it's a flexible card that he's redrawing Bora, and we know it, and we figure that he has a hand full of monsters if he's not committing too many back rows. So this is the moment here where obviously in this game too, There's nothing that he could do. We have the Titanium to stop any negation and targeting removal. We have the Mirror Force to stop the Shira. We have the Raikou to crack any back row that he would have drawn off or whatever hand card that he was setting. We knew he was going to draw a monster off Wing Blast, and we had the Mirror Force to protect the monster. There was no way he was winning this game, and I was just revealing my hand to show him that that was the case. So again, it's very important to get aggressive fast and just not be. Sometimes you just cannot be scared of Kalut. You can't afford to be scared of Kalut. So even though you do lose to Kalut sometimes, Bozari. So we go Lila, and then Lila's just breaking the back row there, hitting an Icarus attack, and then we put the MST. We would have not naturally done this if because we want to save our Lilas for Whirlwind, but like we drew MST, which is very, very nice. We mill 3. If you want to hear something really goofy and a goofy idea that came into my head is that when you mill Sirocco, sometimes I'm like, what if you sided like a Vayu too? So just in case you hit both, then you could just like, do like a Vayu Turbo kind of shenanigans. But Homeboy has Whirlwind, he has Shura, and as you see in my hand, there's just no way of getting rid of this Whirlwind. So that MST was just hella unfortunate there. But it's one of those things to notice that like Whirlwind needs to be dealt with like immediately. If Whirlwind was just not on his field, this game would have been entirely different, right? So we Vortex because we just cannot out this Catastrophe for the life of us. Hit normally mill. We hit Dandelion, which is super insane. So we have double like snatch deal cards. So this is going to be our big burn combo just later on in the game, and we want Mark of the Rose to be able to nab up Sirocco's because the only way that we are winning this game is if they get a Sirocco on their board and we're just pummeling through with it. We're just continuously returning back to Sirocco and just like pumping over his Blackwings. So unfortunately, he has telegraphed that he has his Icarus attack because he's decided not to synchro summon, which is just the way it is. So we ended up going for Brain Control. And this version obviously plays Kalut. So plays Gale. So we're able to fetch the Gale out of the deck, but he decides to Icarus attack there. So Brain Control traded for 2 cards, which is Yippee-Ki-Yay, but not Yippee-Ki-Yay because he draws Solemn Judgment, the Kazarski special, alongside having all these additional Blackwings in his hand. The Fossil Dino doesn't help either, but like, we don't really give a rat's ass about Fossil Dyna. Like, the card is worse when you set it more so than it being like a standard floodgate that you have. So we tried to Mark of the Rose to take it, but he solves that entirely, which is not a bad play within itself. So he's going full aggro on us. There's like literally nothing that we could do. The Call of the Haunted is just like sitting there, which is absolutely unfortunate. We draw a Lone Fire Blossom, which is just the way it is, We probably had like an argument to setting Lone Fire Blossom and then setting Burial and having Necro Garden try to block that and then Fossil Dyna run into the set. Just giving us a little bit more time for us to like potentially draw a monster that we can out. I don't know why he put in so many either. That one does not make any sense to me, but to each their own, brother. But yeah, I think that was just one of my throws there. Not sure if it meant anything, but it showed that like he had to commit additional monster for the torrential, and then we could call the haunted something back. So the game could have played out differently if I just set the Lone Fire, but like if he had another monster anyway, and that was the end of the game as is. So we got dicked, which happens, right? So that's the point, right? We want to play these matches. So here's my other version of Amaryllis. Like I said, I have like probably 25 different lists of Amaryllis, and right now I'm narrowing down one for Ribbit Ruler. So if you guys want to support me at Ribbit Rulers, like I know that E3 Yugioh, he's streaming the channel. Go watch his channel. Like for that stream, you'll see your boy on there repping Little Man Yugioh. Want to see all of you guys in the chats being like Amaryllis best deck. Oh my god, he's gonna win nationals or worlds or whatever. I don't know, like, but we're preparing for worlds essentially. That's what we're doing here, right? So we're trying a couple of different things here. Some of these things you might see are so spicy, but so I might be skating away some spicy goo. But I do anything to make sure that all of you guys have a better black matchup, and that's why you should subscribe to the channel. All right. So he's gonna go Kalut over, not even attack the set monster, which is bizarre. So we know that the chain backward is a chainable, whether it's Icarus attack or anything of that like. So we just flip over bot line, and then we just start like beating his ass with it. So knowing that if he had another Kalut in his hand, because they only normal summon Kalut if they have another Kalut or they do not have another bigger monster in their hand, right? We know that the bot line is going to go 2-for-1 on that trade. Amazing, right? So he throws Titania back, which is not a bad idea considering I was going to double sack Titania. I literally told him I was going to double sack Titania, and then bot line Titania token is just like triple negates, infinite negates. Infinite. All right, so moving over here. He's able to net himself right into Catastrophe following this play. He probably chooses not to, but we do need to out the tuner because that's just important. So the Icarus attack is going to trade with that and the bot lion, which is totally fine, right? That's just the way it is. So we end up going, we want to establish Lila and then Phoenix Wing. I think that maybe this was a mistake and just to go for the card trooper instead because we're able to net the discard value off it. And it's a more proactive mill for your main phase. So, but end phase, we mill 3, we mill a whole bunch of yucky garbage. I am testing Divine Wrath in the main deck. Card's amazing. Like, what else are you gonna say? So he has MST Shura, which is just ball sack of fortunate. So he runs it over and then he's able to get Bayou out of the deck. Bayou hits over the token. And I believe he performs a synchro summon here. And obviously when they synchro summon here, that means they do not have Icarus attack in the back row. So you could play a little bit more freely in that regard. But he decides to make a magical android, which is an interesting choice considering that Catastrophe is a good stuff. We top deck Heavy Storm, which is all right. And then we set Catastrophe and pass. Moving over, he draws Legacy of Yada, attacks over and passes. And we're ready to just kind of try to run over this android, or else he's going to gain too much life, and we just cannot have him gain too much life. As you know, notice here, Amaryllis is not a graveyard yet, and we just blew through half our deck, which is absolutely unfortunate. The trade-ins, there's only 2 left in the deck, so we have a 10% chance of hitting a trade-in, so we get this Amaryllis out of our hand. Mathematically, we're like in an okay spot of being able to win the game, right? Drawing Mark of the Rose, not a bad card either. Milled out 3 cards, increasing our chances of hitting trade-in / Amaryllis. This is the point of like, this is what I'm trying to like really teach you guys here. Like what I really want to instill value-wise for this is that like you view the millers and the draw cards in the deck because you want to see more of your deck. Period. That's like the main basis of succeeding with this deck. Obviously, we were just want to punch over with card trooper. He draws Black Whirlwind. Legacy outs for Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon is dead. But Homeboy goes Whirlwind and then Kalutes because he has to. So I know that he has God nothing in his hand. And then he goes special summon Whirl that, and then he goes into the Bryonic. Attacks over for 1900. We're able to draw a card off that. We draw a Hedge Guard. Card that I'm trying. I'm not in love with it. But it's like a hand trap-esque card that like you could have with this and Lila on your first turn to protect the Lila. And it's also a plant and it's fat. So we end up like just not negating for some reason. Oh yeah. I know what reason, because we were going to take Mark of the Rose his ass and just end the game. Easy. So moving on to game number 2. So going through some of these replays here. Obviously, he has a handful of monsters that are just not good, along with Nobleman of Crossout. We have some of the more standard hands here. And he sets value pass. So we're just going to go right into Lone Fire, into Titania. Even if he has Shura and Kalut, he cannot get over it because of Hedge Guard. So he's deciding to go Whirlwind. And then just attack over, telegraphing that he does have Kalut in his hand. So I just decide to hedge guard it during damage cap because it says during damage cap the same. So it's right. So Kalut activates before hedge guard. So he threw a Kalut. So Kalut traded with hedge guard, which is awesome, right? So we have a monster that is able to keep our negate there, and we just bully this thing right over, right? So we attack for 100, and we're able to blow through 2 Kaluts, which is absolutely crazy. So, which is really nice because we're up on card advantage here. We set the Raikou, we pass. He draws deck deving. Nobleman the Crossout is insane right here. He gets all the Raikous out of our deck. And there was some argument to setting Necro Gardener there. There really was an argument because you should anticipate them siding in crossouts, and then when you see crossouts, you side out a Raikou. So like, siding knock is not great against this deck, but people do it. So, and you don't want to get blown out by it. So we end up just putting down the Necro and just passing there. He goes, Blizzard. And then I guess he tries to synchro summon right into the Catastor. He tries to deck Devi me. We chain Wing Blast to the deck Devi to put the Whirlwind to top of the deck so we don't have anything to reveal. Deck Devi is very hit or miss. Again, this deck, when it hits very hard. And when it misses very hard. We have called the Haunted Titania. And then this card is just not going to do everything. So obviously we have Amaryllis in hand. So that was not a bad card to draw. We know he's going to redraw the Gale there. He normal summons another Blizzard, and I'm like, double Blizzy is literally crazy. So shotgunning deck Devi, I don't know if it's worth it or not, but he's able to go for the Armed Wing there, and then from Armed Wing going to Colossal Fighter. So Colossal Fighter being very, very large monster. Yeah, I mean, this is where having Rekos like that would have been nice. And then we have Lila, who plays exactly under deck Devi. And that's another reason why we should play Lila in our deck, because it does play under deck Devi. And then we just it's not a top deck for Plague. We discard the Amaryllis out of our hand for Bryonac. We swim over for 33 with the Call the Haunted. And then end phase, we get back Amaryllis, and then we pass. And then the game is over. So he could do his little shenanigans here. It doesn't really matter. And then 200 over the Brio. He's trying to figure out like what would make the most sense here, but we're just going to switch everything to attack and attempt for attack for game. So, which you do need to do sometimes to, more or less, like it's like I said before, it's the Blackwing matchup. You just have to go for it, or else they're going to top deck something nuts, and then the game's going to be over on your end. Well, like that, like he did with Royal Oppression before. So moving over into the next match here, like I said, I lose this match also. So pretty 50-50 there, but we're also able to see the how Hedge Guard performs. 2100 attack, defense. It's no slash defensive wise either. We decided to go Sangan and just start attacking with it. So it is the way that it is, and it does another Icarus attack. Greffer, again, showing how, not great this card is. I think people are moving away from the Greffer stuff, per se. Going to Card Trooper draw. You go for Card Trooper, attack, and then we're milling. Attack for 200. And I make a misplay here. I should have Mirror Forced the Kalut instead of going Hedge Guard, but I really wanted to keep the Card Trooper alive for some reason. I should have just, did more. All right, so he attacks here. But we would have drawn the Raikou for turn against back row, which is not bad. So we would have full utilization over that mirror. And we decided to go for Titanium right here, see what comes up. He has the bottomless there. We do not care. And then we just set Torrential and pass because we want to do the thing. So we end up torrentialing here. We probably should have waited for Android or Catastor. If he summoned Android, then that means that he has this card in his hand, so I would have telegraphed that a lot easier. Dark Arm Dragon is just such a pain in the ass. So, and then he has Royal Oppression immediately afterwards, which is good grief, man. I mean, Royal Oppression could be quite the stinker, or it could work so well in your favor because they're burning themselves, right? So it just is the way that it is. Stop sliding Snowman Eater, Glick. Come on, baby. Come on. But we're pro storming and setting the morphing. Do not cut Morphing Jar out of your Amaryllis deck. Do not cut Morphing Jar out of your Amaryllis deck. That's the only public service announcement I have right here. And you're going to see why. Because he's going to summon this thinking that it's a Raikou. And then you're going to just plus out your ass and just have all these plants loaded in the graveyard. And then you just draw 5 new cards. One Royal Oppression gone. Not too shabby. And obviously he draws a brand spanking new hand that he T-sets pass. And then we pro storm him. Hey, Morphing Jar. Amazing. So then we go Lone Fire, Titanium. Classic. And then we set call, and then we pass the turn because call could net us the Card Trooper if it's going to be prompted for destruction. So we're able to safely put down both. It's almost like you get the full value of what Starlight Road is with Call the Haunted because this could have been Starlight Road. But we're glad it's not Starlight Road because the board presence that it brings is a little bit more important there. He decides to ditch Collude, and then T sets and passes. There is an argument that Collude during the call the hunter during the end phase to play around bottomless or roll oppression and stuff like that. Um, but he goes Titanium hit. He actually trades the Snowman Eater, which is very good. And then he called the haunted roll oppression comes on down. So that's unfortunate, right? And the reality of this is that he summons Shura, and then I try to like destroy the oppression, where that was probably not the smartest move in the world. Let's be fair there, right? So definitely a couple of misplays that game, because sometimes royal oppression could help you against this matchup. But I felt that he was gonna go Sirocco, Vayu, and then I already saw oppression, so it's not like I expected that to be the case. But yeah, he's obviously attacking inward. He summons out Android, and he passes. So good stuff there. And then we draw Starlight Road, which is a whatever ass card, right? And we attack with both, because why not? And then we synchro summon into AFD. I just so happen to still have AFD in this list. This should really be Urbellum. Urbellum is just a better card. It just is. The only thing that you might consider for Ancient Fairy Dragon is that it does out Zombie World. That's the only thing, which might make it the reason why you play this in your extra deck over that. But the extra deck is a little bit tight. At least with the tomato version, it's a little bit tight, because you have stuff like other synchros that I don't want to mention because Rivet Rulers, so I don't want to say what some of my spicy synchro ideas are. But he values goes for Dark Arms. We have to torrential this, unfortunately. God, Dark Arm Dragon is turning around games. And then Starlight Road just sitting there on his ass doing nothing. He goes Blizzard. Blizzard summons back the Shura, makes the 6-star. Blizzard's this is one of the best cards in the game, in the format, hands down. There's no other card like it. It's we've seen in history of Yu-Gi-Oh! How cards like this are just so insane. Like this, Debris Dragon, Cold Soldier Wolfbark for those who play half format. What else is another reviver from the graveyard? That's just on a normal summon. There's a few of them. I feel like there's definitely some that I'm missing. Put in the comment sections which ones are that I'm missing here. So I'm definitely forgetty spaghetti. And he goes makes Brio and then passes, which is or not. I know we're talking a little bit of what the best monster is. Goyle Guardian helps trade with Titanium, so which is in case I hit a like a Mark of the Rose or something like that. So, but unfortunately, even if I top that Hidden Armory, what am I going to do here? And I just flip over the Starlight Road in disgust. I'm not sure about this card. I really am not. I never liked this card in any capacity, period. Even though it's a +2, it's so conditional, and people play around it, and your better players are going to play around it. And like I said earlier, the fear of this sometimes outweighs, makes them do stupid shit, which is cool, right? But that's really all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this content here. I know this has been a very highly requested video, so hope all you guys got a little bit more information for your noodles. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Continue to show your support for the channel overall. I need your love and your best wishes and your prayers or your blessings for Rivet Rulers this weekend. So hope everyone has an amazing rest of your Thursday. Peace. Have a great day.